All right. Welcome back, everyone who just watched this wonderful presentation by those wonderful women talking about the way how they advance their careers. And welcome back to our probably last and maybe most excited part of this conference. And Aleksey Didik, I'm going to be your host today. And I have Matyas with us. Ethan, want to say hi to the audience?
I'll say hi, but I'll also say, Aleksey, you look very good today.
I know, that's true.
I didn't know that I had to dress up. I can go change.
No, it's already late. Let me be the beautiful one. So let's just move forward as is. So Ethan, it's going to be just informal conversation. Who likes formal conversations, right? It's always stressful and etc. So we are going to set it up just like as informal conversation. And I want to start with a description of our show itself, right? So I want to ask guys to just pull the screen and let's take a look on the description of our conference. Yes, so I had been preparing for the show and I had been reading about you just to learn about you. I never met you before, so that's why I had been thinking through this text and thinking through this description and trying to imagine how can you look, just like how such person with so much career advance, so much competency and so much professional could look like. So I decided to ask Midjourney. I hope everyone guys, what is a Midjourney. I decided to ask Midjourney how such person could look. And that's options I got, right? Let's take a look all together. So this is option number 1. This is option number 2. Option number 3. And option number 4. So Ethan, who you think you look the most close to? But my personal was this number 2 because it looks like, oh my goodness, it looked like the Seth Rogen, right? Exactly one. But still, what is your personal choice? Who you think you look the closest one?
Aleksey, I don't think any of these people are involved in delivery. If they were, they would have lost more hair, like I have. These people are clearly models. Like they don't work for a living.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I clearly understand about losing hair, unfortunately, too. So, what made me concerned, to be honest, taking account the last speech we just observed, they're all white men. Midjourney thinks that such wonderful people can be only white men. It doesn't sound fair at all, right? So what should I say? So Ethan, while all those people definitely doesn't make any delivery at all, so would you like to speak about a few words about yourself? Don't deep into just like a couple of words presenting who you are, why we are talking, and what you're doing
Sure.
at the pump.
I'd be honored. And Aleksey, I appreciate you hosting and looking so good. As you said, my name, I've been with EPAM for about 5 years, and over about a 30-year career. I've had roles both in services companies like EPAM, but I've actually spent a lot of my time working at customers, being the customer, and I'm actually a former customer of EPAM. I've worked in a lot of industries, including healthcare and life sciences, which is kind of near and dear because of the impact it can have on health, on patients, and more. And yes, today I find myself at EPAM with responsibility for delivery for our customers in North America, and it's a wonderful team to work with.
So you lived in Chicago, yeah, right? Windy City.
In fact, I'm joining you right now from Chicago, from my parents' house. If you look at this picture, kind of the far right side of the picture, then you go back maybe about half a kilometer away from the water. That's where I am today. It's actually the room that I'm joining you from is actually the room that I grew up in. This was it's changed. It's now my father's office. But yes, I'm in Chicago today, and this is where I was born and raised.
And Boulder, Colorado, right?
Boulder is my new home, and if you like mountains and you like being outdoors and you like the sun and you like hopefully friendly people, athletic people, this is a great place for you.
Boulder, is it a good place from the Fallout Las Vegas game and you stop in the middle? I don't remember. I just like it probably should be. And your family, right? Oh, such a nice picture.
This is my family. It's an extended family. It includes my three kids, including my oldest son, his girlfriend, my parents, my mother-in-law. This is actually recently, about 6 months ago, at the graduation from university for my oldest son in Eugene, Oregon.
So what is his degree? He graduated. What is his major?
He's an engineer.
Engineer. Oh, follow your steps. All right. So this is serious conversation, informal but serious. So I have a also serious question. So, Ethan, if you were a superhero, what would be your superpower, and what would be your superhero name?
So I've always been a fan of flying, and so I think that I would want to be able to fly. I think that would be very cool. As far as the name, I don't know. Like I think Super Ethan is too easy and cheesy. So Aleksey, maybe you can give me a name, but I would definitely like to fly.
So just like when I preparing for the show, I decided to also ask Midjourney, how would such person with all this description like as a superhero, and that's options I got. Let's choose number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. So what is your personal best?
Oh, this is a lot. Like you've got like a Harry Potter with the cape on the left type of guy. You've got like a Superman with still wearing the glasses on the right, and then the two guys in the middle seem to have like some kind of army of superheroes behind them, right?
Yeah,
I'll go number 2 because he seems to have a fun army. But again, all of these people have too much hair for me.
that's absolutely true. However, do you see something they have all in common? They also old white men, right? That's unfair. That's unfair. Taking account how much wonderful women we have in the industry, and I'm pretty sure that it could be a lot of wonderful women who have this description, but they all white men. Yeah. So, okay, all right. So your IT journey. I mean, so everyone is coming through. Someone is just starting, and some of our listeners right now in the beginning. So 25 years of experience going through all those challenges. That's definitely a lot of difficult delivery moments if talking about hair itself. So what was your delivery journey? What was your IT career journey? Was it more like a lonely walk in the canyon full of danger, or it was just a nice run in a Candyland with a lot of friends and supporters? So how's it?
No, I've had some bumps along the way, but I started actually at the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana, and most of the audience probably have not heard of this, but I had the opportunity there, and this dates me, to actually work on the NCSA Mosaic project. This is the project that eventually turned into Netscape Navigator, and most people on this call have probably not even heard of that, but it was one of the first web browsers and then servers. And then took that experience to then focus on additional opportunities, including helping companies transform and learn how to build their first, at the time, what was called web presence, and then over time many more opportunities as well.
Still more. Maybe what was the most challenging in this part, like growing through and just like starting with and making advances. You know what is most important, just like maybe personally for me, is to how did you understand that you want to move forward and try something new, not only from the technology perspective, but more like from the set of responsibilities perspective, some new things you never tried before, just like manage bigger scale or something different. So how did you go through the advancement itself?
Well, these are kind of different questions, kind of a technology arc and then a management or leadership arc, though they're related. I've always loved technology, and I've always been the one who wanted to play with the new technology, regardless of what I was working on, quote unquote, at work. I was always, originally buying the book and trying out the new programming language and figuring something out. At the same time, I've always had a passion for kind of solving problems. And so when customers or leaders at companies that I were working with wanted to accomplish something big with technology, I always loved that. And then figuring out, it's one thing to be an individual contributor, to write a script, to write a piece of code, to go hack something together there over the weekend. But to actually build a team that could actually work as a team and accomplish something together, not only can you see the bigger impact because of the scale of the work, but the result of people figuring out how to work together across sometimes cultural differences, technology differences, communication differences, and actually seeing kind of teams not only form but perform is actually a rewarding journey. And then getting to see them celebrate that success, the launch, the business impact. Those are really fun moments in my career.
Yeah, I agree. You know, this this is something just like so unusual. This feel of joy of seeing something working, either it's a group of people or either it's a technology itself. And I still feel a lot of joy of trying just like making something. Do you have like any like this more one-on-one with the machine experiences, not only in the teams? Do you still have time just like to try something and do like with the technology by yourself and advance, or you more
I
use?
do. I still like playing with technology each and every day. Actually, my middle son is an engineer as well, and we are together working to build a mobile application for iOS, and it's fun. And it's also fun to see his learning journey as well, and to contribute
Mhm.
code. And then sometimes he looks at my code and sends me some feedback, and I really appreciate that as well. But yeah, I still try to play with it very much. I'm also kind of curious about AR and VR right now. And I'm excited to see kind of with Apple's introduction in the market, what that's going to mean to adoption and more. I think that that'll be fun to watch over the next couple of years.
Do you feel like do you feel that you can pursue any other career in the world? What it's not IT. If it's not IT, would you find yourself somewhere else? Maybe you have some thoughts about like, okay, if it's not IT, I would do, I don't know, just like making cookies, or just like how can you imagine yourself out of this IT space? And if you do, who would you be?
First it would not be making cookies because
No.
if my wife was on this call, she would explain that I'm the worst cook in the world, and that's not a skill set. Maybe other people have this skill set. I enjoy business, and I actually enjoy learning about new businesses and having an impact on different industries. But I also think that there's something fun about being an entrepreneur, about starting a new business, about something that's impactful. My best friend in the world was with me this past weekend, visiting my house, and we were talking about different opportunities, different businesses. Starting a car wash business is just a way to, because we both like cars, a travel planning business. But yes, I could imagine myself in almost any form of startup mode. But I would probably still find a way to bring it back to some kind of digital technology as well.
That sounds fantastic. So feeling this joy and this careers when you can actively create new things, is it
Yeah,
either in
for sure.
technology or in any other
Especially
point?
things that people like.
Mm.
It's such a thing to make a virtual or physical product and not only have it be utilized, but to actually see people enjoy it and appreciate it. I think that that's something that all of us, should actually experience in our career.
That's true. So the next topic I would like to talk is this magical engineering DNA. And I assume it's very connected to the IT journey you just described and these career passes. So, and as a head of engineering excellence, I always just like thinking about this DNA. How does it look? Is it just like some magical metallical thing? That's what me, Jordan, thinks about engineering DNA, by the way. But how would you define this foundational qualities of person which drives them to build those new things and a technological one?
Well, I think as a delivery person, it's important to meet our commitments. For us, if we commit to building a solution, to a timeline, to a budget, to accomplishing that. But at the same time, it's not just accomplishing a commitment, but it's actually building it the right way. Building the right way, by the way, doesn't mean a perfect way, but building it a right way, so that hopefully we avoid concepts of technical debt, so that it's extensible for future capabilities, that it's something that either we or a customer can operate with kind of the least amount of operational baggage, if you will. And so I think not just building something, but the way in which you build something is important. I think concepts of quality and actually workmanship, and this goes back to engineering roots and construction roots, and actually looking, at a building, at a property, and not just it being beautiful, and not just having kind of accomplished it in whatever timeline the building was supposed to be made, but that actually it's strong, that 20, 30 years later, it actually is built properly so it doesn't start to leak or to crumble. I think these same concepts very much apply to software development, to engineering as well.
So how would you see this engineering DNA in EPAM? Is it just like something, how would I say it, just like maybe just like an advice to e-commerce and not only e-commerce on this speech, is just more on this moment, how they can nurture and how they can grow the engineering DNA, help it not just mutate into something like disasters, but just keep it, nurture it, and help it to advance through the life and take just like all you can get out of it if you was born with it.
I'll say a couple things. And first, I'll start years ago when I was actually a customer of EPAM. And we had asked the team to do something, and the team was executing, but the team actually scheduled a meeting with me because they actually thought that we were building something the wrong way. And we had given them requirements, but they had actually thought it through and thought of ideas where they could deliver more value, and not just more value, but have less technical debt, have a solution be more extensible. And the EPAM team actually came to me and said, you should consider this, you should change. And I've worked with a lot of consultancies before being at EPAM. I've worked with a lot of services vendors, and the majority of them would kind of salute. Thank you. I have my orders. I will go build it, and I'll let you know when I'm done. And this team actually came back and challenged us and told us that one of the things that we were doing was actually not correct, not ideal, and was willing to challenge that status quo. There's other cases where it's actually about SDLC, about process, about ways to take effectively waste and inefficiency out, so that the teams can actually have a better experience, but they can deliver more value. And I think it goes to that kind of culture of being willing to look for continuous improvement, for seeing something, for saying something, for making that recommendation, even sometimes when it requires a difficult conversation, for being, not just satisfied with it's good enough, but looking for something better, both for the EPAM teams and for their customers. I think this is so cool, and it's so important. And like these days, Aleksey, I don't get to write as much code. Like the customers don't want me to write code, and I'm too busy in meetings and doing PowerPoint, and it's kind of sad. But like to think back to those days of working on a team and thinking about continuous improvement and ways to build better product and build it in a better way, and then having a culture and organization that says, yes, we should not only have this conversation internally, but go talk to our customer about it and go make the recommendation, be willing to have that kind of tough talk. I think it's very cool, and I think it's something that's very core to who we are.
I would just like describe it as being on a side of solution, not on the side of the client. Recognizing that clients is a people who have their own motivations, and sometimes they are also not on the solution side. They can just like don't know things, and you as an engineer is just like making the solution which is going to work, not just satisfying some people. And that's, I assume, the fundamental difference, right? When you are able to speak up for the solution, and if you are just like giving birth to the bad bridge, even if client wanted to be bad, but you as a person cannot afford building a bad bridges because you know the consequences and you cannot just do it. So this ability to speak up and just like tell, no, it's just like not gonna work. This way is gonna work. This way you're gonna get value. This is what attracted you in EPAM, right? And when you fall in love
It
with
is.
EPAM.
And again, it's at least two things. It's one, that cultural willingness to look for that continuous improvement, and then it's two, in kind of the right way, having those difficult conversations, to make the recommendations, to talk about the trade-off, maybe the investment now to have the payoff later. It's something I care deeply about.
Yeah, it makes sense. So we live in a world of constant change,
We do.
and just like this AI, like it's such a big change, and I feel like I just grasp a reality, and the next day it's something different. And we are gonna talk about AI just a moment later. However, how do you personally adapt for this continuously changing world? How you can, because just like you sitting and feeling like, all right, now it's all good, I understood it all, and that big thing hit you, and just like I said, how you personally manage this stress, how you can allow yourself just like to accept just this change, and understand that you need to continue to adapt. How do you manage?
First, I'll correct you on one thing. I'm not sitting, I'm standing. And this is actually part of my answer. Like, I think we spend too much time sitting and being lazy, and I think we should actually get a little bit off of our butts and move around a little bit, both at work and outside of work. Second, I've always just effectively appreciated and embraced change. And whether it's technology, whether it's political, whether it's cultural, I just think it's fascinating. And so I think you either commit to being a continuous learner, and embracing it, because I'm sorry, if you fight it, you don't see that many people, driving in a horse-driven carriage. But I'm sure that there's a couple of people out there that would not embrace change. I do think that the pace of change is accelerating. And it's not just, in the world that we're in, it's all around us. And so for me, it means actually allocating some time to learning. It means embracing it. It means actually surrounding myself with people that can actually also embrace change and talk about the change and what it means. And occasionally just making yourself vulnerable, asking the tough question, what does this mean? Because there's so much out there, I think, that we all need to kind of continuously learn. But if we continuously learn, then we can continuously add more value. It's the people that are still working with antiquated technology and more. I don't think that they're enjoying, the type of work that they're doing, the type of projects that they're given. And the flip side, the people that are keeping abreast of new capabilities and technologies, they're given the more interesting tasks, the more interesting projects, and they have more fun.
Yeah, that's true. For me personally, it's always about this fear you have, right? Because every change brings uncertainty, and how to welcome this uncertainty is probably the biggest challenge for me personally. I understand about the need of continuously learning, understanding that reality is changing fast. You cannot just sit and wait, just like and hope that tomorrow is going to be the same as yesterday. However, overcoming this fear is just fundamental. And that's maybe coming to the next question I have personally is about this hot topic of AI. right? So how do you see our AI future? Is it going to be like that, or is it going to be like this?
I don't. Those are my only two options.
No, obviously not, but just like
So
maybe they can guide you.
first, I think you're going to see some of both. If I'm honest, like there's no doubt in my mind that governments are already figuring out how to use some of this technology. That said, I think that we're nowhere near kind of peak software, if you will, peak applications. There is so much that's being digitized right now, whether it's devices, applications, mobile, or more. And I actually think that AI can help us build software better and faster. And I think it can help us build better software, more engagement, more learning, more experience. And so hopefully what it means is that it takes some of the routine and boring work out and allows us to focus more on valuable work. Hopefully it means that the applications that we're building will be more engaging to those end users. They'll get more value, and we will in turn get more value back from them through data. But I think it's going to be another round of acceleration. We saw this with kind of the cloud journey over the last 10 or 20 years.
Mm.
And now I think that this is the next wave. And in 10 or 20 years, there's going to be yet another wave, maybe sooner. But I think that right now it allows us to build better applications, and it allows us to build them faster, at least those that are actually leaning in and figuring out what this means.
But do you feel like existential fear about AI? Coming back to
I
those pictures we just saw on the screen, it's just like it's a lot of uncertainty. It seems magical and so powerful, and that's why just like the way how we can embrace it in a software, I assume, is going to be fundamental and beautiful. We are going to have a completely new level of a way how we interact with the systems, and us as an experts in a way to develop those systems will definitely should be here, should help our clients and ourselves to understand and embrace it. But while working heavily on this part by myself in my day-to-day job, I still feel this fundamental like existential uncertainty. And
well,
how do you manage it? Or you have it or not?
I don't mind uncertainty and I don't mind change, but that's me. I can think of all the changes that we've gone through. I remember how the infrastructure people were worried when DevOps, capabilities came along, that we were going to turn infrastructure into code, that we would take away their jobs. By the way, they learned. They are now doing DevOps and operations and more, and not racking and stacking hardware. We've gone through these changes before. I remember were the people that were concerned about their data centers when everything went to the cloud. What's going to happen? These people learned new skills and have new jobs. This is another iteration, and it's another big change. I think if you were building help desks that were doing highly repetitive, kind of boring BPO tasks, I would be concerned, because I think those tasks will be replaced, but we will find new work for people. We will retrain people. But I think about kind of the good that AI will bring and the type of applications and value. But Aleksey, to your point, there's no doubt that there will be some disruption with the change.
That's completely true. So what is interesting is that when I looked for those asked Midjourney to generate me evil AI and extremely just like canned AI, I had got some different options, and a lot of them looked like that. Just like, do you
Wow.
think there is something Midjourney knows about why and where evil AI can be born and why it's so much America here?
Aleksey, I'm just frustrated that these robots have better hair than I do, even in mid-journey.
Except of the one in the middle, I assume, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's true. What I coming back from all this things and destruction, maybe a couple of words. What is the most memorable failure in your career, and what you learned from it? If you're talking about change, not all changes end up like in something fantastic and Candyland for us. So, but we are learning from it, right, and becoming better. So, what made you and shaped you? What kind of failure made and shaped you?
There was a project that I was doing in the early 2000s for a major mobile company. It's since rebranded 3 times over, and the concept of the technology was brilliant. But the leadership, and I was an engineer on this, but the leadership of the project had actually never managed to spend time with the users. And so we made beautiful technology, and we were ready. We put it into production. Putting things in production back then was far different than putting things into production these days. You had to touch physical computers and more. And on the first day and the first morning, the users absolutely rejected it. They had not been consulted on requirements. They had not been consulted on change. And they demanded that we roll back, and months and months of work was effectively put back on the shelf. And the team that was so excited about what they had built were all made to feel terrible, not because of what they had built, but because of the lack of engagement between technology and actually the stakeholders. And to this day, kind of those concepts of how are we capturing requirements? How are we preparing for change? How are we preparing for rollout? To me, it's critical. In addition to building great technology, it's actually making sure that the people that will get this great technology want it, are ready to use it, that it actually meets their needs. And so to kind of think of not just the technology aspect and digital aspect, but that human aspect, I think was a key kind of learning for me earlier in my career.
Yeah, I hear you. So we are coming close to the end of our today conversation. So just in case, audience, you still have a chance to ask Ethan a couple of questions, so feel free. Guys, my team, please support me. I also want to know that in the beginning, as my team told me, it was some challenges with the sound and with the quality of sound. So I am really sorry about that. And we will work hard to make it better in the future. Now coming back to you, Ethan. So what I have left while audience is thinking about questions is a short quiz for you. 10 questions, just going through quick. First things which come into your mind, no more than 3 seconds to think about. Okay?
Uh-oh. Sounds like trouble.
You ready? Una,
Sure.
dos, tres. What is a new programming language you would like to learn?
I would like to do more with Apple's new device, and it's kind of an extension to the iOS programming, but I'd like to do more with AR VR.
Okay. If you could have a dinner with a historical figure, who would it be?
Richard Feynman.
Oh my goodness, you broke my heart right now. What is a one tech gadget you simply cannot live without?
Everyone would say phone, right? But like phone is too easy. I will say my beautiful digital mirrorless camera.
Pick up a new hobby that's not related to the tech. What would it be?
A new hobby?
New hobby.
I really like photography, but I've never really gotten into video. And so maybe that would be kind of an extension.
Name a technology trend you think will dominate the next 5 years. Oh my goodness.
We talked about one. Next question.
Mountains or beaches? Come on, come on.
I live at mountains, so I have to say mountains. But vacationing as beaches is nice.
That's true. I like personally New York. Sorry, audience. I like New York so much because there is mountains, there is beaches, there is skiing, there is hiking, and the culture of the big city is such a nice
But Aleksey,
combination.
I'm sorry. East Coast skiing is very different than West Coast skiing.
I'm not so good at it. I'm all right. So don't worry. Like my son told, I told him, let's go biking. You need to learn how to bike. And he told me, I'm okay. So I'm okay with this cost mountain. So I'm sorry about that. So if you had to explain the concept of cloud computing to 5-year-old kid, what analogy would you use?
I wouldn't. I would read a book or take a hike.
What is the last book you read that nothing to do with technology?
It's a good one. Actually, I was rereading one of Richard Feynman's books. It's not the last one, but he wrote a book called Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman. And I reread it somewhat recently, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah, you broke my heart twice. And if the world of tech were a movie, which actor would play you?
Well, you already suggested Seth Rogen, so I'll just go with that action.
I
Actor.
agree, I agree. And now the final one. You ready? If you were a CEO of a company that manufactures socks for robots, pitch us your best slogan.
You said socks, just to be clear.
Socks. Yes, like what
Oh
you
my
put on your
God.
feet.
Like my robots are so amazing. Their socks not only change color based on the mood that you have. I have no idea. I'm not going to make robots.
All right. Team, thank you, Ethan. Team, is there any questions, like hot topics? Just like 2 minutes left in our talk today. No, I don't see anything. So, Ethan, it was such a pleasure having you here today, and thank you for the insights. I assume you all live in this changing world, and that's your feeling of it, and your experience is great. So, I would say thank you so much, and see you next time. Thank you,
Aleksey,
audience. All right. Thank you, guys. Bye.